Our picnic lunch right there, real close to the beautiful courthouse there. You see us sitting over there, taking it easy. It was a beautiful day. You got a good view of my 1200 Goldwing Interstate, real dark blue, with a bad alternator and a battery in the left saddlebag. After Marfa, we went on down Highway 67 to Presidio. It's about 60 miles or so, and we're going down and down and down and through some beautiful, curvy, winding roads, drop in elevation, and some interesting rock formations like the Abraham Lincoln profile and the Elephant Rock, which looks like an elephant standing out there in the on the hillside, probably 100 feet tall. Really looks like an elephant. This is Highway 67 going on down towards Shafter and Presidio. And this is the town of Shafter, the ghost town. It used to be a silver mining town, I think. Now the only thing there is some ranches and this old church, and there's a few dirt roads and a few people. When we got to Presidio, we turned southeast on the what everybody calls the River Road. It's Ranch Road number 170, which goes from Presidio to Studi Butte and follows the Rio Grande River on your right when you're going east. And they had some snow and rain, and the bluebonnets and the yucca plants were in bloom. Just the smell was overwhelming and so pretty, and the bluebonnets there are about knee high, and the yucca plants are so pretty, yellow, all bloomed out, and cactus stuff. I've never seen it that pretty in all the other trips after that year that I've gone down to Big Bend, or up to Big Bend. We had changed bikes around, and I think Nathan and I were riding Bobby's GL 500 Silverwing, and there I have my silver helmet in the way of the picture, but Nathan has taken some pretty neat pictures here over my shoulder going down 170 towards Lajitas, and you can see either the Mexican mountains, Sierra del Carmen, or the Chisos Mountains there in the distance. Roadside shot of mountains and mesas, flat top mountains around as we were passing through on 170. And as I mentioned earlier, we were following right along beside the Rio Grande, and it was really muddy and seemed to be flowing pretty good at this time. So we got a few pictures of the Rio Grande to show you after this. Nathan had turned around and took a picture of Bill and Kevin coming on his 1100 Goldwing with the trailer in tow. Or it may have been Bobby and Luke. Can't tell for sure. But we had traded bikes, swapped off bikes, riding for a while on this road. We're still on Highway 170. And that is Bill on his bike with the trailer, and Bobby's riding my 1200, and Luke and Nathan and I are on the 500. But this is on the western end of the 170, where all the road dips are, whoop-de-whoops. And this area is real prone to javelina and burros at night now. Another good view of the Rio Grande flowing, making its way to the Gulf of Mexico. Picture was a little bit fuzzy, but you still get the idea of how pretty it is. You see the mountains in the background over in Mexico. Another view of the mountains just across the river in Mexico. They seem to be a lot higher than they are on the Texas side. Nathan took this picture from the top of the hill, 15% or 15-degree grade. You go up to the top and just right back down, follow the curvy road around. Just around the corner is where the teepees are. The 3 teepees in the roadside park right beside the river. You can see the Rio Grande Valley off in the distance. Another shot of the Rio Grande River. One thing the pictures don't really do justice to is just how green all the trees were that were along the rivers, and how pretty the flowers were, and how fragrant the aroma, the smell of the flowers was. Just really got your attention. We stopped at Lajitas at the old trading post, which has quite a history to it, and went inside, got soda water and maybe candy bar or something, came back out and stood around. And I don't think they had the brush arbor at that time, but this building off to the left is the old trading post. It's now the Golf Pro Center, but they still have the painting up on the wall, the mural of the cattle drive scenes with the longhorns and the cowboys and the horses and the river and everything. Anyway, I think it's still a dirt gravel parking lot, but the gas pumps are gone, and the building that says baños or bathroom on it, but and the brush arbor is gone too. It's getting a little warm at this time. We were all taking our jackets off for sure by this time. It's probably 85 or 90 degrees even in March. Here we are dropping down into the, I think this was at Terlingua Creek, is this valley there, and the mountains off in the distance are the Chisos Mountains where we're headed to camp out that night. But Highway 170's got some great views all along it there. This is one of the better ones. And I think we're right at the town of Terlingua, right along in here. As a matter of fact, there are some of the old rock ghost houses or huts that are left at the Terlingua ghost town. It wasn't very inhabited back then, but now there's quite a few people moved into the area. They have the chili cook-off down there every year and some bike rallies and things like that, and they have quite a few people showing up, and a lot of homeowners have bought 5 or 10 acres up there, put little trailer houses on them or something. And we're back on 118 again from Studi Butte going into Big Bend National Park. There's the western entrance sign right there. As you can see, it's getting later in the day, so we don't have too much time to dilly-dally. We ran into some road construction on 118 going into the park, probably 3 or 4 miles, but we just took it slow. Didn't stop us. We just had to go real slow because it's loose gravel and stuff. But the mountains you see in the distance are the Chisos Mountains, and you can see the window right there, which looks like it's almost touching the ground, but as I understand it, it's several hundred feet drop off there, and that falls that Nathan and Kevin walked down to at the window that night and back, luckily. Some more views of the mountains as we make our way to the Chisos Mountain Basin. That may be the window right there that we're looking at. Anyway, we made it to the turnoff to go up to the Chisos Mountains Basin, which is a dormant volcano, which they have restaurant and motel up there, lodges. They have a huge camping ground, pretty primitive camping ground though, a lot of rocks. Anyway, there's Bobby and Luke on my gold wing in front of Nathan and me, and Bill must be behind us. This is on the road going up towards the Chisos Mountains, the big sort of square looking mountain peak right over the windshield there. I believe that's called Casa Grande, or I think it's Casa Grande or Emery Peak, one of the two. That's right beside the entrance. This is a 7-mile ride up there to that mountain and over the ridge down the switchbacks to the lodge and the campground and motel and the restaurant. More mountains on the way up to the Chisos Basin. A lot of volcanic formations protruding out of the earthen looking mountainside. There's some more of the rocks around the rim of the Chisos Basin. Pretty tall peaks around there. I think the tallest peak is about 8,000 feet, 7,000 feet around the Chisos Mountain rim. Still heading on up towards the peak there and the entrance over into the rim, down into the basin. You might notice that we're starting to see some pine trees and other vegetation, and they say there are a lot of deer, mountain lions, bear up in the mountains there. It's a lot cooler up there at the higher elevation. The change in elevation goes from about 3,000 feet or so at the cutoff at the bottom of this road, and you go a little bit over 6,000 feet going over into the rim. So it's a pretty good climb, just a steady incline. A lot of fun to ride, curvy, very scenic. This is a good shot of, I think that's Emery Peak there, is what it's called. The canyon walls or the walls of the mountains are getting closer and closer to us. We're just sort of winding our way in between them and sort of snaking back and forth up towards the top of the road there. We've made our way over the ridge, the little pass that goes down into the Chisos Basin. This, I believe, is the first of the 2 or 3 switchbacks, 10-mile-an-hour switchbacks, 20-mile-an-hour switchbacks, leading down into the basin. This is one impressive view in person. The rim of the caldera, the old dormant volcano is all around, and then the basin down in the middle is way down below us where the campground is. What you're looking at in the center of the picture is the window where all the water in the basin that falls in the basin or snow runs out the window, and it makes a waterfall there. I think it's called Cattail Waterfall, Cattail Falls, if I remember right. Another view of one of the, maybe the same hairpin curve, but I think it may be a different one. It's getting late in the day, so you're seeing a lot more of the colors come alive with the late red afternoon sun. Getting a little bit better view of the valley below. Getting a pretty good view of the rugged rock formation and the spires or chimneys that stick up all around the rim. This area was on the north side of the basin, which will be right across from our campground. This is a great view. Again, I believe this is Emery Peak. After we got our campsite sort of set up, and some people may call this Old Baldy for some reason. Look at all that hair. I think we have a picture somewhere of the moon coming up over this mountain or by this